Welcome to this week's Renewable Roundup podcast. I'm Russell, and this week I'm joined by Lauren Stewart, who's going to give us the benefit of her insight into what's going on in the PPA market. I'm really excited to hear what she's going to say. So, let's get started. Hi Lauren, thanks for joining me this week. How are you?
I'm doing good, Russell. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm all right. Yeah, I'm good. I keep looking out the window and hoping spring's going to come. Some days it does, some days it doesn't. We've had a bit of spring today, so that's good. Thanks for agreeing to come and join me. I'm really excited. For people who perhaps are listening and don't know you as well as we do you want to just tell us about yourself and what you do here at Zeigo Network?
Yeah, thanks, Russell. I'm Lauren Stewart. I'm the Renewable Developer Account Manager for Zeigo Network. So what is that? So basically, my role is to dive into all of the corporate PPA pricing intelligence data that we have, isolate trends within that data, and present it to our esteemed clients within the Zygo network as well. So it's important for me to have a good pulse on what's happening across Europe. My role is very Europe centric, so it's basically kind of keeping up to date on things, delivering advisory sessions, and general account management for Zygo network members.
Super. So to translate that another way, basically you're the person that network members ring up when they want to know what's going on.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Excellent. And
I should have a few things to say.
Yeah, no, I love it. And you're the person I always want to ring up when I can never find the data, but that's another issue completely. So finger on the pulse. That's why I definitely want to talk to you today, and I'm glad you've come and joined me. I would love to get your take on PPA activity, what you think has been going on in sort of 24 and 25, what you're seeing in 26 as a trend. Over the weeks, we've heard lots of things, and even I've held views, but I would love to hear what you think.
Yeah, well, it's probably no surprise to a lot of our listeners that 2024 was absolutely a headline year for PPAs, corporate PPAs. So Spain saw a big wave of corporate PPAs. Think large tech industrial buyers signing 10 to 12-year virtual PPAs for between 50 to 200 megawatts. Specifically, a lot of solar deals were done because of the strong irradiation and project supply that was there in Spain as well. So the typical structures in Spain were pay as produced with fixed strike price. Ultimately, they were so popular because they were simple, scalable, and they fulfilled the main need for corporates, which was additionality. They wanted additionality. So Spain was an obvious choice for those large buyers who were looking for a pan-European corporate PPA to capture all of their European load in one PPA contract. So that was obviously very popular
it kind
in
of
2024.
Yeah.
It made sense.
It made sense because, as you were saying, they were easy to deploy, well priced. Higher radiation in Spain meant that the project economics looked super. So they kind of, I don't know what's the word, they sort of hoovered up everything, really, I guess. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. And historically as well, there was activity in other European countries in 2024. Obviously, Germany had a good amount of corporate PPAs executed in 2024, a lot of onshore wind deals and some solar PPAs. These were often physical or sleeved through utility. The Nordics, there was lots of wind deals, typically tied to energy intensive buyers as well. And the UK, we saw some activity with onshore wind and solar PPAs. Typically, it was obviously more UK companies that were executing deals in the UK, and they were quite a few retail companies like the likes of Tesco, Sainsbury's, and a lot of banks as well, and some big tech in there as well. So,
and they were mostly physical, weren't they? Because the UK seems to be a very physical market.
Yes, yeah, they were mostly physical as well. Then, so that was 2024. Then looking to 2025, it's the market felt different. Deals didn't disappear, but there was a clear cooling sentiment, especially for the long-term fixed price PPA deals. There was kind of, we started to see Spanish solar kind of there were Spanish solar deals were still being done, but there was questions over whether they were kind of whether these deals were good deals because of the number of negative price hours that we started to see in Spain. So that was giving corporates pause about Spain, but they were still good value because the pricing kind of went so low. German off-takers, they were worried about cannibalization in windy hours, so the opposite to Spain. So Spain was worried about solar cannibalization.
Yeah.
Germany was off-takers were worried about wind cannibalization, and the Nordics, the low prices, the low market prices in the Nordics because of strong hydro and wind output just meant that buyers couldn't justify a PPA when normal market prices were so good. So they weren't looking for long-term fixed structures because of the good market prices. And then in the UK, a lot of policy uncertainty in the UK that you would probably know a lot more than I would. So that was obviously a
so across
gave
Europe,
buyers hesitation.
Yeah. No, so across Europe, we've got all these kind of worries about cannibalization, wind, solar, low pricing. Actually, for really good news, it's good news. High renewable output, yeah, obviously. And then Britain, now we decided to be different. I mean, we get wind cannibalization, and yeah, totally. But we decided to be different and literally just have loads of regulatory uncertainty and confusion, and people saying, "Well, yeah, let's just wait." Okay, yeah, love it.
So, as you can imagine, so a buyer who, say, signed a Spanish solar deal in 2021 might be looking at that deal in 2024 and 2025 and looking at their settlement prices and seeing that the market was often below zero. They might be asking whether it was the right thing to do. So, and they may be asking the questions like, do I really want another deal that behaves like this as well? So we're starting to see, rather than more PPA deals being done, we're starting to see better designed PPA deals being done, is what I would say, looking into 2026, where they're definitely, the number of deals hasn't roared back in any way, shape, or form, but it's the deals that are being done, I think, is an indication of what is to come. And just to give some examples as well, they have like matured structurally. A couple of deals that I've looked at. Merlin Properties, they're a real estate company who executed a deal with Solaria. They executed a solar and BESS deal for 40 years in Spain, which
Sorry,
is
40?
40,
Wow.
yes.
Okay.
So quite a significant length in time. 40 years for the solar PPA and 10 years for the BESS. Best part of the deal. So that was a hybrid deal that was executed recently.
Oh, and sorry, you said 40. Just I'd missed that. What do you think drove 40 years? What motivations do you think might be on both sides that might make 40 years?
Well, I think based off of what they said publicly, the motivation was visibility on recurring revenues and stable cash flows. But yeah, it's I'm curious to get your thoughts on what that could be as well, a 40-year deal, because additionality after a certain point might be called into question, I would imagine. But
well, I'm still trying to work out what the lifetime of a solar unit's going to be, if if that makes sense. And I'm trying to work out whether, in my head, 25 years, but I could be wrong. And there'll be listeners out there probably jumping up and down, going, "No, he's wrong. He's wrong." And so I don't know whether there's some view of repowering, or whether the view is actually that life. There is 40 years in the panels and the infrastructure and everything else. Absolutely. We are going to need to do a little bit of maintenance and repowering and things like that, but it will keep going 40 years. There will be degradation, but it will keep going, and it's worth doing. In which case, it, like you say, it's a long-term commitment to say I've definitely got power for that data center, to some element, and I've got a known price for a long, potentially a known price for a long time, and it's also gonna, hopefully, is the again, it's a long horizon for the investment. It's quite amazing. Do you know what? It makes me want to go away and dig into it some more. So yeah, I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, it's worth noting that Merlin Properties, although they're a real estate company, they're focused specifically on developing data centers as well. So that might be a motivating factor as well, keeping stable
like
cash flow.
Yeah, just
long term, very long term hedge for them.
Yeah, well, it is, isn't it? It could prove to be a really sensible hedge if we keep getting these geopolitical jumps in prices. They're going to sort of sit there, and every time that happens, have a big smile and say, "That's okay. We're good. We're still good." So sorry, we've diverged slightly there, but have you any other sort of deals that you've seen that you think are interesting? I know you mentioned there's a couple that caught your eye.
Yeah, Airbus, the planes manufacturer as well, executed a deal with TotalEnergies in 2 different jurisdictions in Germany and the UK. Although the technology wasn't disclosed, there is a combined capacity of 200 megawatts being added to the grids in Germany and the UK anyway, and it is TotalEnergies have offered a baseload profile for these assets as well.
That's interesting, and isn't it, Lauren? Because what that's saying is, and by the way, I loved it when you said it. So I've been talking about things. Corporates looking strategically, and then what you said was better designed deals, and I love that. And this is clearly one of them, isn't it? Airbus have said, we can work with Total, we can get potentially baseload, or shape, whatever, and we can do that probably from a mix of assets with some flexibility, and Total maybe doing some stuff in the back. So that's actually quite interesting then, potentially, for them, because I think it's also interesting that you said the UK and Germany, because although to me the UK is a very physical market, I'd been labouring under the apprehension that actually Germany was quite a virtual market, a VPPA market. But I think what you said at the beginning was there are lots of physical PPAs in Germany, and the more I think about it, I think actually I'd kind of heard that and somehow missed it. But it makes sense then to say Airbus are actually looking at how they're purchasing, and they're saying, okay, I'm taking this PPA, therefore I'm not buying baseload energy from the market. It's not a virtual PPA where it's a hedge and goose. It's actually a solid hedge and a solid purchasing, which again is a different strategy and a clearly designed deal to meet that. That's really interesting.
Yeah, and historically, I suppose within historically, baseload deals may not have been done because there wasn't a clear view on whether the baseload deal would bring additionality. It's because to make up the baseload for this deal, they would have to take volumes from different assets in different places, some existing, some new build, I'm sure. So it'll be interesting to know how that plays out. But I know that from SE advisory clients, they often do favor the pay-as-produced model, because it's just often there's no question over the additionality of the asset then. But if it's a baseload solution, there questions do come with that. But if developers are in a position where they can offer baseload with new build assets, then that's a very well designed PPA that ticks all the boxes for off-takers.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, I don't know if I'm getting the impression that, I mean, if I look back, shaped and base loaded PPAs rather than just pure pay as produced seemed to me to be the sort of the territory, shall we say, of suppliers or utilities in Europe. You know, they kind of needed that trading portfolio behind them. And I get what then he's like, was that really additional? What have you done to it? Even I've built something and then shaped it. What does that mean? What I think I'm hearing a lot more of, and I'd value your thoughts, is developers who are moving into the sort of IPP space more. So we're not just building and flipping projects, we're operating them, but more than that, we're optimizing them, and developers are looking at saying, yes, I too can offer one of Lauren's better design deals, because I can say I can shape it, or I can base load it, or we can use flexibility. Am I right in that? Do you think that is a trend we're seeing developers move into a space where they can offer more and they can offer that sort of better designed elements themselves?
Yeah, I will say that hybrid offers are very much in the minority in bids into SE advisory tendering processes. I will say that it is mostly pay-as-produced solar and wind that is being offered, but we are starting to see a lot more solar and BESS bids, even if there's no kind of clear commercial structure being put on the bid for solar and BESS or wind and BESS. They are making it known that it is available at some point in the future, and that they would like to kind of build an offer around it. So it's still very kind of, I will say that we're still very in the nascent stages of developers offering these kind of solutions, but it's definitely growing, and I'd say that it will be a growing trend in 2026, and we'll be talking a lot more about the outcome of it in 2027.
Yeah, I think I'm. Yeah, you're right. It's really interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so last question. If people have listened to this and they're interested and they want to know more, what do they need to do? Do they reach out to you, or what's your?
Yeah, so yeah, absolutely. You can reach out to me over LinkedIn, or so my name's Lauren Stewart, the Renewable Developer Account Manager for Zeigo Network. Reach out to me over LinkedIn or by email at lauren.stewart@se.com.
Super. Thank you very much. Lauren, brilliant. Thank you so much for agreeing to be my guest again this week.
My
It's been
pleasure.
an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Russ.